Hey everyone, welcome to The Highest Vibe. I'm Jess, and today we're going to take a look at downward facing dog or Adho Mukha Svasana. So this pose is probably one of the most practiced poses. Definitely if you're taking a vinyasa class or a traditional hatha class, you'll practice this pose at least once. So it's important that we really fine-tune this pose and get the technique down. There's also lots of opportunity for self-adjustments. So I'm going to give you little tips along the way, just that you can come into your body a little bit more and understand what's really going on when we come into downward facing dog. So when you're ready, we're going to come into a kneeling position to start it off. Okay, so as I mentioned, there's a lot to consider and there's a lot going on when we practice downward facing dog, which also means that there could potentially be a lot of room for injury if we're not practicing the pose properly. So it's important to get the technique down first, right from the get-go, so that you can practice downward dog forever without any pain or any issues. So we're really going to take a look at this pose from the foundation, so we'll work from the ground up. So we'll start with the hands. You can just stay kneeling here. Bring your hands closer to the top edge of your mat. Keep the hands about shoulder distance apart. So it's important to spread your fingertips apart from one another so that you're creating more surface area and you're using the whole palm. And you want to distribute their weight evenly into both hands, but you also want to distribute the weight evenly through your whole palm. So sometimes people will have a tendency to kind of dump the weight into the back of their wrist or the underside of their hand, and that in turn can lead to aches and pains in your wrist or a potential injury. So again, make sure you're pressing out through the whole hand, and you especially want to press out into that area between your index finger and your thumb. So from here, tuck your toes under. We're just going to lift our knees off the mat and send our hips up high. So checking in with your feet, making sure they're about hip distance apart and they're parallel to one another. You want to press into the ball mounds of your feet and keep your toes light. If you have the space in your hamstrings, you can reach your heels down towards the mat. They don't have to touch, but you just want to think about that action of bringing the weight into your heels. If you have really tight hamstrings, then it's definitely okay to keep the knees bent in this posture. So rather than overstretching and trying to force your heels down, just bend your knees. It's more than okay. And then from here, you want to think about sending your hips up even higher, finding more length in your spine, and taking any rounding out of your back. So as you do that, you should feel the chest start to melt back. So you want to encourage that and reach the chest back towards the back of your mat. Good. From here, relax or release your shoulders away from your ears. Just release any tension in your neck and allow your head to hang here. So your gaze is either looking between your feet or you're looking between your thighs, whatever feels more comfortable for your neck. Coming back to the shoulders here, you want to wrap the upper arm bones around. So you're externally rotating the upper arm bones, and at the same time, you're internally rotating the forearms. So it's this spiral action in your arms. Good, and from here, if you have the space, you can definitely straighten the legs and reach your heels closer to the mat. Good, so that's downward facing dog. I would encourage you, definitely if you're a beginner and it's hard to hold this pose statically or for a long period of time, then just start to move around. So pedaling out your feet, one and then the other. Maybe shifting your hips from side to side. Good, so if you're practicing along with me, you can just drop the knees for now. There's one last thing I want to mention, and this definitely isn't for everyone, but I think it's still worth mentioning. So if you are someone who tends to hyperextend in your arms, or for example, you're double jointed in your elbows, I fall into that category. And for a long time, I was practicing downward dog and I was straightening my arms completely and locking out my elbow. So that puts a lot of pressure on your joints, and it can definitely cause aches, pains, even injury in the future. So you want to avoid that. You want to think about giving a micro bend to your elbows, and then as soon as you do that, you're gonna feel more strength or more power in your shoulders. So this is a great way to build some upper body strength as well. So I think that's all that I have to say for this posture. Actually, no, I'll say one more thing. So this down the road should be a resting posture. So definitely if you're a beginner, this might not feel like a resting posture and this could be really difficult for you. But down the line, this is somewhere that you come to reconnect with your breath, to just sort of feel into the body and to take a break from maybe some vinyasas or some other challenging postures. So just make sure that you keep practicing, and I hope that this helped you and you got some new tips for your downward facing dog. If you're interested in learning more about a few other postures, I have another video for Sukhasana or easy pose, and I also have a short video for child's pose that I'll link down below in the description. So thanks again for practicing with me. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe and even share with a friend. So thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.